from playing a really good Tulsa team. I'm glad that we're only a 2.5 hour drive down there. Second best 3 point shooting team in the country, third best free throw shooting team. And I'll tell you, just because I coached what is now the third best free throw shooting team in all of college basketball history, that 2021 team that I coached at ORU. The 85-86 Harvard team has won. That ORU team was second till Villanova turned around and they passed them. But even though we shot free throws well, we did not get to the free throw line a lot. They are third in the country at being able to make free throws, but they get there at a 44% rate, which is if you give them a ball 100 times, they're going to shoot 44 free throws. So again, I'm not the dumbest person in the room, taught calculus, and so I can do a little bit of second grade math. If you just think about it, of 43% from three, uh, uh, we don't have anybody on our team who shoots 43% from three, and Kenyon Giles can shoot. And so collectively as a unit, they're better than anybody that we have individually. So if you think about it, right, that's a 1.29 shot. And then if you shoot 81% from the free throw line, and that's a 1.262 shot. That's a 33-point difference. And so I think they've had two games there where they haven't scored 80 and this year. So just a really potent offensive team and really solid defensively as well. And just we're in for quite the fight on Sunday at 1.
We talked last week about this late in the season. Is it analytics? Is it film? You brought up how they're good at three-point shooting. Is it because they're creating open looks, or are they really good at hitting tough shots?
Both. I think that they do. That there isn't much in the way of a transition difference. I mean, they're a 68 possession team. We're a 65 possession team. So my guess is it'll be somewhere in the middle, 66, 67. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously, we need to take care of the ball because you just can't give them easy possessions. Miles Barnstable has the ability to hit really tough shots. I'd say the same thing of David Green and Ade too, number 0. So they have a number of guys who can hit difficult shots, but they know what they're doing. Like they know offensively what they're doing. They know the reads. They make really easy decisions. They have a phenomenal connector in Tyler Barron, who keeps that thing going. So I'd tell you that a lot of it just happens via DHOs.
What kind of excitement is there just kind of around the opportunity Sunday to play one of the conference's best teams?
None. I mean, it's a game, right? I don't think anything of it. I mean, if you're not excited to play basketball, I could care less who the opponent is, but it doesn't like say, hey, because they got this across the front of their jersey, you know what? That means that we grit our teeth a little bit more. So honestly, we're excited to play, and it really doesn't matter who it is.
Petit, his best game thus far, against Memphis. What kind of growth have you seen him just in the short time that he's had to step into a new role?
Yeah, I go back to in college basketball, men's college basketball, you win with men, and men are responsible. And they show up, they put aside their personal feelings, they understand their responsibilities. As I tell our guys, if you ever get called a dude, it's an insult. Those are boys with masks. And they act like they have awesome stuff, right? They have cool cars and big beards, but it doesn't make you responsible. And so what I appreciate about Dylan is you got to remember that the number of people who don't stay engaged when things don't go their way is pretty high. I consider steadiness a pretty strong commodity. It's rare in our world, but I don't do well with people who just blow in the wind. And you know what? When it's going well, they do this. When it's going poorly, they do this. He is not that. He's been responsible every step of the way. If you remember at the Bahamas, he did not play the entire trip, stayed engaged the entire time. Some people, it takes when you ask them the things to do, it takes them 2, 3, 4 months, right? a lot of basketball players, much like people who graduate college, no offense, Owen, they think the day they graduate, they're ready to be a Fortune 500 and CEO. And basketball players, sometimes they think they're God's gift to basketball. And you need humility in order to be good. And I would tell you, he has that. He understands that there's a role to play and there's a strength that I need to bring to the team. And he does that. And to his credit, like, he's responsible. And he is a fabulous young man, and you win with people like that. You win with high character guys. And so to watch him flourish, it's one of those things you sit back and you appreciate.
And the message to the guards, you just talked about how good Tulsa is on offense. That's going to put a lot of stress on the defense. What's the message to the guards this week, and just in their assignments, what do they have to do a good job of this weekend?
Yeah, containing the basketball. I mean, I think when you look at Tylen Riley and his ability to get to the free throw line, tell you the same thing about David Green. I think it's lost about how much Miles Barnstable actually gets there. So being able to contain those guys is pretty important. We're top 40 in the country at defending the three-point line, top 20 at being able to rebound. So, you know what? We need to make sure that we're able to contain the basketball and then limit them to one shot. And that's easier said than done, but we'll have to rotate a lot of guys on a lot of different personnel.
And going back to the question I asked about the assignment, do you guys not put those, like, I guess these games, like, on a higher pedestal so that the expectations don't get too high?
No. No. I mean, no.
Coach, Paige Fiker with Splurge Magazine, and I'm actually writing features on Kenyon and TJ Williams for the March issue. So could you just tell me a little bit about Kenyon's role both on and off the court this season?
Kenyon is probably the most confident person when he walks in the room, and it's a tribute to him. Confidence is a product of two things: your work, and he does that, and then, well, what are you telling yourself? I'm not going to go on a tangent here, but I do worry about our players, and they have earbuds on, headphones on, 16 hours out of the day, and I'm like, what is being plugged into your brain during this 16 hours? But confidence really is about what are you telling yourself? So you have to avoid distractions, and you have to put in the work. He tells himself the right thing, so much so that he elevates the room, and he'll encourage 5% shooters to shoot. And we have to tell KG, stop. Like, we do not want that to happen. Like, but that's what he does. He just elevates everybody. One, it brims from his own confidence, but two, he believes in other people as well. And so it's just one of those rare things where you get people who can elevate the room. Around a lot of people who live life under a rain cloud, and you just realize you'll never elevate anybody. And I stay away from those people, but that is not him. He does not live under the darkness of doubt, as I reference sometimes to our players. He elevates an entire room with his confidence, and he always believes. And you need as many of those guys like that in your locker room, because the truth is everybody doesn't have confidence, and he can kind of make others believe, even when they're not necessarily operating within their strengths. Going back to TJ, his ability to see the floor. A lot of people can see the floor, but they can't deliver passes. And he actually can see what's occurring, and then he can deliver the basketball. I go back to the game the other day, 3 assists, no turnovers, and I know he's 3 for his last 20 from the field, but I mean, you may say you sit here and say you value what he brings, but you're referencing his stats. I honestly don't care. Like, he's going to eventually be able to make shots, and he'll get back to a groove of being able to make shots. but his ability to see the floor and deliver basketballs for a guy his age and the speed at which the game is moving is really impressive. And again, the value he adds defensively, we really encourage our players, one, know your truth. You better know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, we'll tell you who you are, but it's best if you know who you are. And then, two, you need to operate in the 95%. Like 5% of the game, the ball's in your hands. The other 95, like you better be able to do those things well. Both of those guys do that. They just do it differently.
Yeah, and going back to your comment on Kenyon, really with his like high confidence, high level confidence, pulling some of the other guys up to that level. Do you see that between him and TJ in particular, and what's kind of their relationship?
Yeah, I can't tell you that,
Yeah.
but I would tell you KG does that with everybody, like every single person. And we have a red shirt, Tyrus Rathan Mays, and he's been incredible in practice. And KG encourages him, and he's not playing this year, and so it really doesn't matter who. KG just elevates the entire room. And again, it's a rare commodity that you have people who are firm and steady. I mean, coaches sometimes can kind of blow with the wind. I don't. I don't. I try to stay away from it. But at the end, steadiness is such a value. He brings it, but he's also able to make other people better.
Yeah, and one more thing that I just wanted to, ask about the season in general. I feel like the team really has some momentum, and the energy in Coke Arena is feeling like more and more. It's growing more and more. I think the season has been really energetic in that department. Talk to me about that and playing those games and really building that energy here.
Yeah, I mean, whatever metric you want to look at, like we've gotten better every single year, and progress is made in steps, not leaps. I know people want to make it sound like it just happened. I think Kirk Signetti, the Indiana football coach, has ruined it for a lot of coaches out there. They just think you show up and you win. But he even referenced the paradigm shift and what's happening, how you have to spend in order to win. And all that to say, it's a reminder that progress is always made in steps and not leaps. Going back to my earlier point about, when you're around people who graduate college, they wonder why they're not CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And as you get older, you look back and you say, man, how myopic was I? So you evaluate the moment, you assess the whole. And I think that as we assess the whole, we're making progress. And I've always said if we'll get better, the market will demand that we get bigger, and we're getting better. And as long as that trend continues, and there's a context at which you have to put this in, but the truth is we're getting better, and I'm well aware of Wichita's support when you do well.
And when you look at what the tape from those last three or even like the last five, you guys are playing, seems like good basketball lately. What stands out to you? What are you guys? How have you guys kind of leveled up? Maybe even last week where you guys were up double digits for almost both of those games the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is it takes you a little while. I think you're in the back third of the season, and so the first two thirds, I think the first third, especially with 12 new guys, is you're trying to figure out stylistically what this looks like. The middle third, there's counters to the way that you're playing, and you kind of have to explain the counters to your guys, and you have to go back and there's some creativity and some nuances that you have to implement. There's also a changing roster, right, from injuries and all the things that kind of come into place that go into that. And then I just think as you look at it, our guys understand how we play. And we show them video of this is how we play. This is how we do this offensively. This is how we do this defensively. Cheese came in yesterday and talked to the group, and Cheese's message is 100% spot on. And at the end of the day, you do have to play hard. Like none of this stuff matters stylistically if you don't know how to play hard. But I think you've seen us to develop a style, and we kind of know who we are offensively, and we know what we're doing defensively. And I think you can't play hard unless you know what you're doing. So we know what we're doing, and it's helped us make the adaptations that are necessary in order to counter whatever the opposition's doing.
How important is that to have, a program legend in Wichita, have him connected to the program still? Like, why is that important to have him come and talk to the guys now?
Yeah, I think anytime that you can hear from players who've sat in these seats, who've worn this uniform, who understand the pride. I mean, here you have a guy from Harlem who came here and just didn't leave other than his NBA career. And so I think that he loves, there's a brim of pride with him. Like he's brimming with pride at every opportunity he gets. I thought he was going to, squeeze me to death after we beat Loyola Chicago so bad. I shouldn't say so bad, by 20. He was so excited, maybe the happiest guy there. And I just love having former players around because they can speak to what these guys can actually attest to. Like, we understand where you're coming from having worn this jersey. So we play a lot of clips of former teams. Fortunately, we have PJ on staff, and he speaks about it often. But to have Cheese, to be around, all that he does with U Jump in order to elevate the Wichita community, I just love people who serve, people who can give away their gift. And, I go back to gifts are meant to be given. If you're not giving away your gift, you're wasting days. I'm not here to waste days. You better be giving your gift away at every opportunity. And I just appreciate people that give their gift away. And he's done so much for Wichita, but for our players to hear, not only from him, but from former Shockers. I think there's a connection there that just our players understand.
Touching more on assistant coaches, Josh Eiler, obviously Kansas State,
Yeah.
Utah, West Virginia, very decorated background coming into Wichita State. How has he, elevated this team? What has he brought to the coaching bench?
Yeah, I just think you need to look at top 5 in the country at old boards and go look at the teams that Josh has coached and been around at West Virginia. And there's this isn't that hard to be able to ascertain the value that he's had, and you can just go look at a metric and you can be able to do that. But just phenomenal. One, he has head coaching experience and wanted a guy I could lean on a little bit more, who kind of has made those kind of decisions. But two, just lost such a valuable guy in Quincy AC, and I could go on and on about Quincy AC, but Quincy did phenomenal work for us in the rebounding. And so I wanted somebody who just understood the value of the possession game. You always have to win the possession battle, which is rebounding and turnovers, in order to give yourself an opportunity. So if you're minus in those categories, you're always going to be behind. So I knew, just having coached teams and understood the value of possession, that we're going to make strides here. If you look from my first year to this year, the strides have been pretty significant. But in regards to possession issues, but I would tell you that the value, the rebound margin, we were number 1 last year in rebound margin inside of our conference, and I thought we were making growth there, and I did not want to come back. But Josh has elevated our group. I could say that about every single one of our staff members, right? Karan Boyd's made 21 threes. He's made 20 in his entire career prior to coming here. And that's attributed to a number of coaches, Coach Polino and a number of people, but really appreciate Josh and what he does and the value that he adds. And, I used to try to be first in, last out in the office. So I get in at 5 a.m. and, I go back to, I'd usually leave somewhere around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Jerome Tang would often try to beat me, but I wasn't going to lose to Jerome Tang during all those 14 years. But I will tell you, I don't beat Josh in, and there's he does a terrific job, and you can see it in just the rebounding numbers.
Been any kind of special relationships with guys on the team? Maybe not some relationships, but maybe just coach versus player sort of tutelage moments that you notice things have just
Uh, yeah, I mean, they could probably speak on it better than I do, but I would tell you just, I mean, watch PJ and the confidence that he gives guys. I got a tendency, I try not to, again, I take, I tell our players this. Every possession is the most important possession in the game, and we need to treat it as such. And the reason that possession is the most important is because it's the next one. So I try not to get too high or too low. Because if the players see me get excited about our next that possession, but you said the next one is most important, and I'm supposed to model that there's a seriousness that needs to take place, I kind of pride myself on when the chaos is happening, like I'm the calmest in the room. And I wish you could measure heartbeats when it's most chaotic. If I don't win, I'd be really upset. I say all of that to say I got a tendency to kind of go negative really, really quick. Watch PJ when you watch a kid come off, and I'll dap a kid, but I may not look at him simply because he knows like he just botched something. Watch PJ. PJ can kind of immediately get that guy lifted. The same with Josh Eilert. Watch him put his arm around a guy. Watch Kenton Polino. Watch Xavier Holland. Our staff does a phenomenal job of kind of reading the room, and that's a rare quality. But I think when you've been around the game enough, and I think when I don't think the value is necessarily like you were this tremendous player. I think you know what it's like to be in the locker room. Like when you've been in that locker room and you understand the dynamics of it, I think that's where there's a ton of value. And everybody on our staff, it just does phenomenal work there.
Also, to that coach has body language sort of been, an improvement with this team. Something you noticed the difference in.
Oh my goodness, yes. Like again, everybody thinks this about the game of basketball. They think it's tactical, and it is. And I'm not trying to be dismissive of that, but just go watch the body language of us playing Charlotte and going to overtime, and then watch the body language of us playing South Florida. Two totally different body language, and that attitude. Man, I can't believe we got to play 5 more minutes and we squandered an 18-point lead versus man, you know what? We just squandered a 28-point turnaround. Like there was a 28-point the difference. We were up 15, they go up 13, and you can sit around and be disappointed all you want. I don't think people understand that when you don't score and the other team does, there's going to be runs. Sometimes it's going to happen quite a bit where you don't score for 2 or 3 possessions and the other. Sometimes people don't understand. You're going to lose leads. It's going to happen in the nature. But how you respond to it is what really, really matters. And you got to teach guys what winning looks like. So we have to go back and we have to show them how winning teams kind of respond. And I would tell you that our body language has been night and day better.
With Dylan Batiste, I've heard you mention like the Stay Ready Club. I'm sure he was in that at the start of the season. Tell me about his demeanor, how serious he took it, and just how much did that help him, you think, now that he's playing a lot?
Yeah, I tell the story about an NBA player that I know who complained about having to be the following morning at a workout, and the owner came around the curtain and said, "Listen, don't worry about working out." And he got sent to the G League an hour later and was eventually cut a day later. Like you don't complain about the opportunity to get better. In the NBA, if you don't play 12 minutes, you immediately go to the treadmill after the game. Pretty much with a lot of organizations. Quincy Acey would often talk about it. Like you go and you go do 20 minutes on the treadmill after a game if you don't play your 12. And so I just think that if guys are sitting around, they have bad attitudes about getting better. You're probably not going to make it very long. And again, people understand their responsibilities. You put aside your personal feelings. You understand that this is what I need to do in order to elevate the team, and I need to do that. And again, Dylan's been phenomenal.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys.